Hello and welcome everyone to ANZ's webinar training session designed to save you time and manage more efficiently your interactions when contacting ANZ. Today, I'm really eager to share with you a new and exciting digital solution that's available now on our ANZ Transactive global platform, Service Requests. My name is Caroline Pawley and I'm an Executive Director at ANZ, and this session is part of our Transactive webinar training and is focused on self-service. Led by our industry experts, you'll discover seamless navigation through our intuitive interface, enabling you to lodge maintenance and service requests in a secure manner. Before we get started, I would like to acknowledge that I'm joining you from the lands of the Turrbal and Jagera people and acknowledge the traditional owners of the various lands on which all of you are joining from today. I pay my respect to elders past, present and emerging, and to any Aboriginal and Torres Strait Islanders joining us today. The Transactive Global Training Series is designed to provide the resources to enable you to unlock the full potential that ANZ Transactive has across its full suite of features, which include payments, reporting, trade finance, commercial credit cards, insights, and FX, all brought together in a true omni-channel experience. If you have any questions or feedback as we go through our session today, please type them into the chat function and we will respond throughout the session. You can certainly do this anonymously also if you'd like. Your feedback is highly valued and enables us to better plan our future functionality. Post the session, we will provide access to the recording, so if you have any colleagues that have missed today's session, you are able to share that with them. I will now hand over to Catherine to get us started on this learning experience together.
Thanks, Carolyn. Hi, everyone. Thanks for joining today's session. My name is Catherine and I'm part of the servicing team here at ANZ. Today, as Caroline mentioned, I will be taking you through the new digital solution that is available in Transactive Global. We hope that this new feature improves your efficiency when dealing with ANZ and empowers you to engage with us digitally. This offering within Transactive Global will allow you to submit, track, and manage your service requests in channel and be a single entry point into the bank, providing you with a new and preferred channel to engage with us as opposed to the phone and email channels you may currently be using today. Let's go into the reasons why this is our preferred channel. This centralized single sign-on platform takes all the guesswork out and will route your requests to the respective team to action, or it may even be smart enough to action it in a matter of seconds via straight-through processing. It will improve overall efficiency, save valuable time, and fits in perfectly with your existing support model and escalation framework. What's even more exciting is that it's available around the clock. So regardless of where you're located, you'll be able to receive ongoing support any time of the day. For the site itself, I will provide a disclaimer and notify you that this is not a live customer site. It is being utilised for training purposes only. I've just logged into Transactive Global, and I'm currently on the main home screen, which is the default landing page. The site itself will be very familiar for most of you. Feature has been created to have the same look and feel as your existing products already held within the platform, making it extremely intuitive and very user-friendly. On the left-hand side, you'll notice a few different options available. This will depend what products have been enabled on your profile, and everyone's profile will look a little different. Today, we'll be focusing on the service requests menu. In order to see this option in your navigation menu, Your site must first have service requests enabled, and a service request role must be assigned to your profile. Once you click on the Service Request tab, you'll be presented with the main grid, and you'll notice that 4 submenus appear under the main Search Requests menu: Payments and Transactions, Digital Channels, Accounts and Legal Entities, and Upload Documents. We will take you through one service request under each submenu and show you how simple it is to lodge your requests. Let's start with Payments and Transactions. Payment and transaction service requests are requests that relate specifically to payments and transactions, such as investigating payments and transactions, managing periodical payments, ordering check and deposit books, and other general account inquiries. The Payments and Transactions screen provides you with a list of all current and past service requests that have been submitted by yourself and others, as well as those that have already been completed. The requests you can see on this screen will depend on the accounts you have access to as part of your service request role. If we click on the new icon, we will be presented with all available payment and transaction service requests. I'll take you through one of our most popular service requests, which is the Trace Transaction request. You will need to select the relevant account from the drop-down list. Once selected, you will need to locate the specific transaction you're hoping to trace. If you're able to input the post date, this can be entered as a single date or a range. This will allow you to narrow down your search. You'll then be able to search through the results and locate the required transaction. You'll also be able to view the transaction type and transaction narrative. Once you've selected the transaction you require to trace, click Next, and you'll be taken to the Review and Submit screen, where you'll be able to cross-check the information prior to submitting your request. You can then submit your request. A pop-up with your request status and reference number will appear on the screen. It's as simple as that. From here, you can raise another service request or view the request details. If we view the request details, you'll be able to see a full summary of the request you've just submitted, along with any comments or supporting documents provided, as well as the audit history. The audit history provides us with the date and time a request was lodged, as well as the username of the individual who submitted the request. If you close the request, you'll be taken back to the main screen, where you'll be able to see your Trace Transaction request in the grid, along with the request ID and request status. You also have the ability to search through the grid, filter your search, and sort your column settings, so they're preset next time you log in. If you're attempting to lodge a request, but you're unable to locate a suitable category from the available list, you do have the option to submit a general account or transaction inquiry. This allows you to lodge any and all inquiries digitally within the one channel, with the added benefit of live tracking and in-channel communication. Let's move on to digital channels. Digital channel service requests are requests that relate to managing your digital channel users, whether this be adding, amending, or deleting users, as well as deleting accounts. You'll also notice that this grid does not contain any of the payment and transaction requests. These are all stored separately under the different tabs. Users must hold the authorized person role in order to see this tab. Once again, if we click on the new icon, we'll be presented with all available digital channel service requests. Please note that the user requests are for ANZ managed users only. Company managed users can be managed by the site administrators via the Administration tab, which we will touch on shortly. In this scenario, we'll be adding a new ANZ managed user to Transactive Global. The digital channel ID, legal entity, and jurisdiction will already be pre-filled for you. You'll need to input the new user's personal details in the allocated fields. As always, we ask that an individual's full legal name be entered. This will help us identify if we hold a valid KYC profile for the individual. There are also a number of mandatory fields that need to be completed, which are marked with an asterisk. And where required, information icons have been provided to remove any confusion. If we scroll down to the security device details, you'll notice that there are two options available: an ANZ digital key and a token. For those who are not familiar with an ANZ digital key, or ADK, this is a security device in the form of an app that is installed on your mobile phone that enables you to log in and authenticate ANZ digital channel activities and transactions using a PIN, Face ID, or a fingerprint. Using the ANZ digital key as a digital token replaces the need to carry a physical security device. You will then be adding permissions to the new user. You do have two options here. You can either copy permissions from another user or add individual permissions. You can also assign multiple roles to a user from this screen. If you select Add Permissions, you'll only be presented with all available roles that can be assigned to a user. There is also a brief role description if you're ever unsure what a particular role is or what level of access it provides. Let's pretend for the purposes of this exercise that this new user needs to be an administrator against the Transactive site. You are going to select the Customer Admin role and click Continue. And then select Add Permission, and this role will appear in your permission list. If you're unhappy with your selection, you always have the option to select the tick box on the left-hand side and remove permission. If you were to copy permissions from another user, you could either select a user from the list provided, or you can type the user's name or user ID to filter through the list. You can also view the user details on the right-hand side. This will allow you to see what roles this user has assigned to their profile, as well as drill down to the specifics of accounts or legal entities that may have access to under the permission settings. Once you're happy with your selection, you can copy from user, and the permissions will be copied to the new user. The copy permissions from another user is a great option if someone is leaving the company and you're attempting to set up their replacement to ensure they have mirrored access. It's always a good idea to place your own personal reference against the request. However, this isn't mandatory. If you click Next and have missed a mandatory field, you will not be taken to the Review and Submit screen, and any missing fields will be highlighted in red for your attention. In this case, we have not provided a mobile number, which is mandatory when requesting ANZ digital key as the user's security device. Once all missing fields have been completed, you can again click Next, and this time you will be taken to the Review and Submit screen. If you scroll down to the bottom of the screen, you'll need to read through and accept the terms and conditions before proceeding. You'll then be able to submit the request. The request status will show as pending approval. This request does require a second approval before it can be sent for processing. Once you're back on the digital channels screen, which you can access back in, you'll see the Add User Request in the grid. you'll notice that the request status is pending approval. If you click on the request, you'll be able to view the details of the service request, the audit history, as well as approve, reject, or cancel the request. If you choose to approve the request, you will need to use your physical security token or your ANZ digital key to perform the approval. Please note here that the person who created the request will need to provide the first approval, and another individual will need to log in and provide the second approval to fulfill the dual approval model requirements. Once the two approvals are performed, the request will be submitted to the bank for processing. If any additional information is required, the service request status will move to a more information required status, and an automated generic email notification of the status change will be sent to the requester, advising them to log in and view the details under the comments and supporting documents section. To ensure you don't miss out on receiving these email notifications, please ensure you have an up-to-date email address registered against your profile. You can then communicate in channel with us by adding comments and/or attachments. Some users may also need to provide additional certified documentation to complete KYC prior to having their profile set up. If this is the case, you can also restrict document access to ensure other individuals on the site are not able to view other employees' restricted documents. It is important to make sure all required information is provided before clicking Submit. Once submitted, the request will move into an Information Provided status, and the comments and/or attachments provided by you will be added to the comments and supporting documents section, acting as an internal audit trail. You'll then be able to track the progress of this case on the digital channel screen by the request status, and it will also provide you with the request due date, which is in line with our current SLAs. You'll also be able to view your unique reference here if it was originally provided when creating the service request. Let's note here that you've already reduced the overall turnaround time by 48 hours for form pre-population and additional effort in scanning documents, obtaining physical signatures on hard copy forms, and various emails back and forth. Given that other users will also be able to see these requests, it's quite handy for others to either follow up on a request on your behalf or avoid duplicating requests that have already been lodged. Let's move on to account and legal entities. Accounts and legal entities service requests are requests that relate to account and legal entity management, such as opening or closing an account, managing statement preference, adding or deleting an account signatory, or amending legal details. Managing statement preferences is one of our most used features under this category. Let's lodge this request together. We will first need to select the account we're hoping to manage, noting here there is a limit of 10 accounts per request. You will then need to individually amend each account preference by clicking on the amend icon on the right-hand side. You'll notice certain fields are marked with an asterisk. These are mandatory fields that need to be completed in order for the request to be lodged successfully. Once you've made the appropriate amendments, you can save the changes and work your way through each account. Select Next, and you'll be taken to the Review and Submit screen, where you can submit your request. It really is that simple. Amend Statement Preferences is one of our requests that is processed via straight-through processing. In a matter of minutes or less, your request will be processed and the status will reflect the outcome, successful. This saves up to 48 hours when compared to submitting the same request via our email channels. Last on the list is Upload Documents. Upload Document service requests are requests that relate to payment and transactions, digital channels, or accounts and legal entities that require users to upload an ANZ form. Clicking on New will again show us all the available upload document requests. If we click into Open Account, you'll see how the request guides you to download the ANZ form and upload a signed version via the drag and drop function, where you can submit the form for processing. While we are still required to complete a physical form, the Upload Documents screen allows you to obtain a real-time status updates on your requests and receive notifications upon completion of your request, along with a full audit history and activity log. It also allows you to house all your ongoing service requests in one centralised place, and you're also able to export your requests into a CSV where required. The future scope aligned with ANZ's digital strategy is to continuously transition requests across to web-based forms. As each service request is transitioned across, they'll appear under their respective submenu for you to start utilising. We will now take a moment to touch on your site administrators. If you're an administrator, you will have access to the Administration tab on the left-hand side. Administrators have the ability to users. There are a number of service request roles that the administrators can assign to users when creating a new user and managing an existing one. These are company managed roles. In this case, we'll be adding service request permissions to an existing user, which we can do through user management. Within user management, you'll be able to select the user who needs the service request permissions added to their profile. If you select Edit and scroll down to the Add Permissions icon, you'll notice that there are a number of service request roles to choose from, each with a brief role description. Once the role is selected, you will need to select the specific account and/or legal entities that this user needs access to before adding the permission. Upon saving the changes, the request will need to be approved in accordance with your administration model. If it is single, like our training site, it won't require any additional approvals. The final portion of our session today will be focused on all service request roles and permissions, as well as additional support material that is readily available for you to access. We will take you through to our online help portal where all this information is stored. You can access this at any time from the help icon located at the top right corner of your Transactive site. Once there, you can scroll down to the service requests link, and a number of useful resources will be available for you. Please set some time aside to familiarise yourself with these links. There is a lot of valuable information here that will support you in making the most out of the service request capabilities. A breakdown of each service request can be found under Service Request Types. If we expand each category, you'll be able to see a description of the service request and any approvals that may be required before the request can be sent to ANZ for processing. Earlier in our session, I mentioned that the Add User request required an approval in order to be submitted, which we can see is presented here. If you're ever unsure how to create a particular request, you can select a category under the Create Service Request heading, and a breakdown of the request will be available for you, along with screenshots and step-by-step instructions. Under Administration, User Management, User Permissions, if you expand the Service Request Role and Permissions Settings category, there is a role matrix available that outlines each service request role currently available, along with the specific service requests that these roles can access. This matrix also outlines whether a role is aims an idea of how these roles need to be assigned to users and whether the role requires access to a security device. Let's spend a moment going through each of these roles, as this may give you a better understanding of what access you or your colleagues may require. The Service Request View role provides users with visibility over all service requests except digital channels. Individuals with this role cannot raise any service requests. The Service Request Create role allows users to create and manage all service requests except digital channels. They cannot approve requests that require token approval. The Service Request Transact role allows users to create and manage all service requests except digital channels and approve payment and transaction service requests only. The Service Request Appoint role allows users to create and manage all service requests except digital channels and approve accounts and legal entity service requests only. The Service Request Authorized Person role allows users to create, manage and approve digital channel service requests only. As always, we encourage you to submit any and all feedback you do have about our digital capabilities via the feedback link that can be found in the online help portal, or alternatively, you can reach out to your ANZ representative. That concludes today's session. We hope you found it insightful. A number of our customers are already reaping the benefits of this exciting new product offering, and we're thrilled to be able to extend this service to all of you. Please stick around for our Q&A, and we look with us in the future. So if we move across to the Q&A, we have had one question come through. Will deposit book functions be moved online? Yes, you will be able to order your check and deposit books through this feature. That is held under the payment and transaction subheading. Once again, you will just need to ensure that you've been given access to the account that is linked to the respective check or deposit books, and you can certainly place your order digitally for those. The next question is, how can I add the digital channels? So in order to actually see the digital channel submenu, you will need to hold that authorized person role. Now that is an ANZ managed role because you do require a token to be able to approve the digital channel service requests. Someone with the authorized person role can lodge a request to either add or amend you as a user. So depending if you do currently hold a profile or if you need a new one to be created, will depend on how that request needs to be lodged. But when someone has the authorized person role, they'll be able to assign that to your profile. The next question is, will a list of user role types be made available? So the role types are available via the online help link. So they're available to access at any time. So if you ever needed more information about the specific roles, what access it provided to a user, it's all available via the online help, just under the service request tab. It outlines if it's an ANZ managed role or a company managed role as well. So it will give you an indication of how that role actually needs to be provided to each of the users as well. So the next question is, can we still contact via email, phone if necessary? Yes, our phone and email channels are still available, but as we did mention, you do have the ability under the general inquiry to actually lodge your request. So the request that you are hoping to call or email about, that's where you would come here and you can freeform your question here. So anything that you were going to send over email, it's as simple as typing that out here as well. So you're able to track the request. Other individuals within the company can see if you've already raised an inquiry with us, and you can track its progress with additional comments and so forth with the in-channel communication with ANZ as well. Yeah. And in addition, you'll notice in the top right-hand corner that there is the contact button. So if you do click on that icon there, what that will do is that will actually provide you with a couple of options. So you will need to input, I guess, the reason for your inquiry. So one of the options that is in the list there. And what that will actually do is that will then generate a code and a number for you to call. So when you do call through to that number and provide that one-time access code, you will already be fully verified when you speak to one of our operators. So you won't need to be verified before you actually start inquiring with us. The next question is, will deposit books be made available in New Zealand? At this stage, no, that currently won't be available. The next question is, will there be the ability to customize these service requests based on your requirements? So we are continuously working to improve the service request functionality. So we are striving to have further customization available for our customers in the future, but it's something that we are still currently working on. So you can not currently customize a specific service request that each user has access to, but it is definitely something that we know that our customers are wanting. So we are working to implement that into our solution here as well. So that's all the questions that we have had come through. If anyone does have any final questions that they would like to ask, please feel free to do so. Otherwise, we will wrap up today's session. Amazing. Well, thank you all again so much for joining today's session. We hope that you will start to utilize this functionality, and please feel free to reach out to your ANZ representative if you do require any additional support. So we go through. When you're ordering your books, is there an option to manually type in the delivery address instead of choosing one from the drop-down list? So you do have the option to manually input an address. When it comes to checkbooks, however, if you are changing the delivery address to something that is different to the one that we hold on file, you will actually require someone to go in and provide a secondary approval in order for those books to be sent out. But you certainly do have the option to manually input that there as well. Okay. And we've just had another question come through as well. So for tracing payments, there is a tick box in regards to fees. What are the fees that are going to be charged? So the fees that are going to be charged, there's actually no fees for this particular request. If there are ever any fees, you will certainly be notified. But service requests as a whole, there's no additional fee or charge provided to our customers to utilize this self-service functionality. But if you ever do have any questions about the standard fees that you are charged, we do always ask that you refer to your fee schedule that you would have been provided with by your account manager. Perfect. So that's all the questions that we've had for today's session. Once again, thank you all so much for taking the time to join the session. And we're hoping this new service feature that is now available for you. Thank you.